Okay, lovely. So there's 25 of us and it's 35 past, so let's make a start. Okay, so let's start by heating up the body a little bit. So just find a comfortable seat. If you are comfortable sitting on your shins, then that would be a nice place to start this morning. But otherwise, cross-legged seat if you're not comfortable on your shins. Can you hear me okay, Farin? All good? Okay, perfect. All right, let's start by shaking out the wrists. So I just want you to start by just flicking. So instead of shaking, sorry, we're gonna flick, okay? That's it, perfect. Yeah, I can see everyone. Almost like you've got water on your fingertips and you're spraying it towards me. This actually just reminded me of Chanta. That's what we're doing, yeah. Okay, extend the wrists out, like so, lengthen the arms. Keep it going, good. And now raising above the head. That's it. So keep flicking. So no need to bend the arms and straighten them. Just keep the arms straight and just flick the wrists. So you're just flicking. That's it. Okay, out to the side. Flick, flick, flick. Just like you're just releasing, like imagine you've just dipped your hands into paint or into water and you're just flick, 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 flick. Good. Back in front of you. Okay, a little bit more vigorous now. Flick, 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 up above. You should be noticing a little bit of fatigue creeping into the forearms by now. Keep it moving, keep it flowing. Out to the side. I know it's hard. Keep it moving. Warming up the forearms, warming up the wrists. Flick, 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 flick. Lovely. Last time out in front. That's it. My forearms are burning. I don't know about yours. Up. Lovely. Keep it moving. Almost there, guys. Out to the side. Good. Oh, and now shake it out, shake it out. Shake out the arms. Lovely. And then just close down the eyes. Place the palms onto the lap, palms facing up. And just feel a sense of that small vibration just making its way through the body this morning. Waking up, shaking it up. Take a deep breath. Inhale through the nose, up, and hold the breath at the top of the inhale. And now part the lips, exhale out through an open mouth, let it go. Lovely. Blinking the eyes open. I'm going to mirror you. Take your right hand down to the ground. Lift the left arm up and over. So grounding through all 5 fingers down into the ground, just leaning over to that side, allowing the left hip to root down to the ground. And then we're going to fold in half towards that side, towards the arm that's on the ground. Fold in half, sweep that arm all the way over, and then allow your left palm of the hand to find the ground and lift the right arm up and over. Lovely. So let's keep doing that. So we're folding the body in half from the belly button, sweeping the arm down through center. The palm of the hand finds the ground, and then the other one follows. And obviously we could just do this movement really mechanically. We could just sweep the arm up and over, just keep it moving, or we could do it really, really mindfully so that we are actually coming into a sense of fluid motion within the body and a sense of what the skin feels like and the clothes on the skin as you move through space. So really fold in half all the way over, grounding through the bottom hand as you move, and just find a sense of just fluid movement within the body, coming into a state of fluidity and cycling with the breath. Vinyasa flow is breath and movement synchronized. So inhale, lift, exhale, folding over in half and swaying to the other side. So just moving for a few moments in your own time, inhaling and exhaling as we sway right to left. And get the head involved, let the neck release, closing the eyes if that feels good for you. Grounding through the opposite hip to the palm that's on the ground, meeting gravity this morning. Lovely. Good. And the next time you come up will be the last. And then we're going to begin by lying on our side body this morning. So what you want is the laptop in a position where you'll be able to see it if you're lying on the side. I'm going to take lying on my right side, so you could have the laptop kind of in front of you or whatever device you're looking on. And so what you're going to do is find the right side body, extend the right arm all the way out, and extend the legs all the way out if that's comfortable for you. And then the left hand comes in front of you onto your fingertips or onto the palm of the hand. So palm of the hand meets the ground, and you're having a pillow, find a pillow with the right arm for your head. So you're just allowing the right arm to sit on the inside of your armpit on the right, and finding a place that feels comfortable and balancing on that right hip underneath you. And if that's not comfortable for whatever reason, then put a slight bend in the knees, and that can be a little bit more comfortable. Lovely. So finding your way onto your side body this morning and closing down the eyes as we arrive in our practice. And notice everything that you've brought to your yoga practice this morning. Notice the state of your body and your mind. What is the level of energy within the body this morning, in your body? Are you slightly tired? Are you slightly restless? Are you slightly energized? Are you slightly calm? So just noticing what you bring to your practice this morning, and whatever it is, enveloping it in a state of acceptance and awareness, holding it in your awareness. And can you give your full weight to the ground? So allow yourself to just melt into the earth. Draping over the right side of your body. The concept of today's Sema yoga class is Araamesh. Araamesh. The definition of which is tranquility. And tranquility is often defined as a state of serenity. Anything from an eagle perched on a tree looking out over a still lake, to the inside of Jamatkana when it's just you. I take my mind back to being in an empty Jamatkana. That feeling can represent a sense of tranquility. And yet in our modern daily lives, we have to hunt for it. We have to search for it sometimes. But what would it be like to tap into that constant any time that we wished, by looking at its opposite as well? So in our yoga practice, we move constantly and yet there is stillness within movement. And I speak constantly, and yet there is silence within sound. So when we're ready, deepening the breath, we're going to begin our movement this morning on the right-hand side. So blinking the eyes open and looking towards me if you can. So you should be lying on your right side of the body with the left leg lengthened. So those of you who have bent the knees, just lengthen both the legs. All you're going to do is turn the top big toes, which are currently pointing towards the side, you're going to turn them towards the ceiling. So you're just turning the left leg slightly so that both heels are kind of perpendicular, almost like the feet are in like a ballet position, because the top left toes are pointing towards the ceiling. And then all you're going to do is drag that leg up the inner seam of the right leg, almost like you were painting with your heel. So the heel comes towards the groin and then it re-lengthens back out. Lovely. And then the toes turn back towards so that both feet are lying parallel. And now do that again. So bringing the big toes up to the ceiling and then drawing the heel, painting the inside of the inner seam of the leg, and then drawing it back down. So we're just going to take that a few times. So just drawing the heel up towards the groin and then back down. Lovely. Making contact with the heel and the inner seam of the leg. Good. Lovely. So waking up that left hip, can you feel the left hip and the left gluteal muscles turn on this morning? Having the knee pointing towards the ceiling, lovely. Knee to ceiling. Good, and then the next time that your foot comes up towards the groin, can you place the whole sole of the foot on the inside of the thigh? If that's not comfortable, you can take it down below the knee onto the calf. And we're coming into a lying tree pose. So as you balance on the right side and the right hip of your body, can you lift the left arm up to the sky, all the way over, and can you place it on the palm of your right hand that's on the ground? And you'll notice you're in a lying tree. Take a deep inhale, exhale, lengthen from the tips of the fingers to the toes. Finding the little wobbles and the balance point in your lying tree. And then when you're ready, releasing the top arm so the palm comes to support you in front of the chest. And then the top sole of the foot comes down in front of the thigh. So the sole of the foot lands on the front of the right leg that's lengthened. Lovely. And then use the palm of the left hand to ease you up onto the forearm of your right arm. So you're side lying with the left foot crossed over in front. Perfect. From here, coming onto the forearm, so bringing the elbow to stack underneath the shoulder, all 5 fingers spread wide. Inhale, lift the left arm, not the hips, so the hips stay grounded onto the floor. The arm comes all the way up and over, and you'll notice a curve forming in the right side of the hip. And then as you re-lengthen the arm towards the toes, notice how the side of the body can sink back down to ground. So there's this sinking of the right side of the body. Inhale, re-lift, lengthen. Exhale, release. So we're opening up the right side of the body. Keep it moving, keep it flowing. Inhale, lift, that's it. Exhale, release. So you don't need to lift your hips up. It's literally just this smooth motion coming into the right inner seam of the body. Good. Let's take that a few more times. And you can follow your gaze follow your fingertips with your gaze if that feels good for you. Taking the arm behind the hips, all the way over, and waking up that side of the body this morning. So it's like a draping and a lifting, a draping and a lifting. Good. And then from here, the next time the arm comes up and over, you're going to place the palm of the hand on the ground to support you. Now, watch me carefully. Put a bend in the lengthened leg. So bend the knee of the lengthened leg. Good. And then use the hands to prop up to almost seated. Now, using your fingertips, can you shift your hips? I'm going to the right to shift them more into the center of the mat. And then you're going to take your left arm up and over behind you, and you're going to roll on the pinky edge of your bottom foot so that the sole of the foot is on the ground, and you need to wiggle the hips towards the right. That's it. So you're coming into figure of 4 in the center of the mat. So adjusting both the arms and both the legs, so you form a position that looks something like this. Lovely. So both arms are behind you, lengthening out, brightening the heart and chest. And then we're simply going to rock over the edge of the bottom foot. So you're going to take the hips to one side and then the hips to the other. So you're just rolling over, pinky edge of the bottom foot, slide to the ground, waking up the hips this morning, and then big toe edge. Lovely. So it should feel nice in the hip this morning. And just take it really slow, you know, like moving like you're moving through a big like vat of custard or of honey, so that we're not like upscaling the movement of life, but we're like downscaling a little bit. And if you bring your heel more in towards your buttocks, so who am I looking at there? Shahira. So if you bring the right foot that's underneath you slightly more towards your buttocks, yeah, that's it. Then you'll get more of a stretch potentially if that feels good. Good. Okay, so from here we're going to have a little bit of a play. Okay, let's see how this goes. So you're going to bring your bottom heel, your right heel, in towards you a little bit, and you're going to start to prop up onto your fingertips and walk your buttocks forward. Now, I'm going to show you an easier version in a moment. But if you can, the idea is to walk your fingertips up so that you're sitting almost upright with your hips bouncing on the right heel. So the hips are sitting there. Now, when you reach here, or if you've not managed to get there, you can unravel and simply crouch onto your knees. So if that feels much easier. And then for a balancing pose, you're just going to try and lift your right hand up and then your left hand up. And that's level one. If you have made it all the way forward so that you are here. Similarly, if you want to really test yourself, you can start to lift the right arm, hugging in the core, and then lifting the left arm. And trust me, this is difficult for me. So take it easy and then release. So if you're here, just play with that for a moment. And then once you've fired up the thighs, maybe lifting the right palm to the right thigh, left to left, or balancing the arms. If you've had enough of that, just allow the buttocks to reach the ground, and we're going to take it to the other side. So I would recommend swinging the legs round and lying on the left side of the body so that you can still see me. So that now your left arm is going to go towards the back of your mat or whatever you're practicing on. Oh, and you lie down on the left-hand side. Lovely. So again, grounding through the left side of the body, lying on the left side. And noticing how there's any asymmetry between the side that we've just stretched out and the side that we're now lying on. Good. And then we'll take it on that other side. So blinking the eyes open and then lifting the right toes to the ceiling. So you're in like a ballet position number one at the bottom, and then drawing the heel, painting the inner seam of that bottom leg, and then back down again. So be really specific here. Sometimes it's lovely to be specific in our movements, in our anatomy. So really kind of lengthen the knee so that it's up to the ceiling, and drawing that inner seam so that the heel is in contact with the inner thigh. And notice how that feels. Notice zone in your attention on the specificity of the cells of the bottom of the heel as they stroke the inner side of your clothing or your skin. Almost like a mini meditation. Lovely. And the next time the foot comes all the way up will be the last, and you're going to rest the sole of the foot on the inner seam of the lengthened left leg, or if that's uncomfortable, take it to the calf, and then lift the right arm up and over into side lying tree. So both palms come down. If that's uncomfortable for any reason, then bring that palm back in front of the chest and take one deep inhale as you lengthen from the fingertips to the toes. Exhale out through an open mouth. Playing with the balance on the razor edge of your left hip. Lovely. And when you're ready, bring the palm of the hand, everyone, to the front of the chest. Lovely. And then you're going to place the top sole of the foot on the inside of the lying lengthened leg. So onto the floor, knee pointing towards ceiling, and use the sole of the foot and the sole of the hand to come up to side lying. Coming onto the forearm, bring the elbow to stack underneath the shoulder, relift the right arm up and over, finding the arc on the left side of the hip this time. And then as you exhale, following your gaze with your fingertips, take the arm behind the hip and sink down. So allowing that shoulder to just release. Lovely. Inhale, relift. Exhale, lovely. So you don't need to lift your hips off the floor. Reach with the fingertips, reach, 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 and find that sense of gather from the bottom of the left side of the body, and then let it sink all the way down like a curtain, just sort of draping up and then back down. Lovely. One last time and release. Good. From here, putting a bend in the lengthened leg, and then using both the arms to come up to seated and shifting the hips this time to the left, taking the right arm up and over behind you and rolling over the pinky edge of the bottom foot, so you come into this figure of four shape, and walking the hands in slightly, walking the heel in slightly, and then swaying the hips right and left. So the right knee, which is on top, can find the ground on the right, and then the sole of the foot can find the ground on the left. And again, moving like you're moving through honey or custard. So really taking this movement as if, like, you know, it's kind of just this slow exploration of the viscosity of the space around you. Good. And then we're going to come into our playing balance, okay? So bringing the heel towards the buttocks. Can you lift your hips off the ground and walk your fingertips in? Now, layer one, you would just uncross that foot and then come to balance with your hips seated on your heels. Maybe lift the right palm and the left palm, and then just sit there and balance there. Or if you want to take it into level two, walk the fingertips forward and continue to balance here. Or level three, have a play. Lifting the left arm, rooting down through the toes of that left foot. And maybe bringing the right arm up as well, so you're balancing. And you can see it's really, really fun and difficult for me as well, so that's it. Lovely. So when you've had a play, good. Unravel, and you're coming into a crouch. So the heels are lifted, we're balancing on our toes, bringing the arms in front of the feet, and then allowing the heels to just sink towards the ground, but they don't quite touch, and then walking the hands out in front of you. So it's just like a little crouch, no big deal. And let the head tuck, take one deep breath, deep inhale, and exhale through the mouth. Stretching out the skin on the back, so the hips are heavy, the heels are heavy, and the head is just rounded. So you're just in this crouch position. Lovely. From here, rocking onto the palms of the hands, allow the knees to reach the ground, and then walk the feet back into tabletop. So tabletop, shoulders stacked above the wrists, hips stacked above the knees. Let's take a few cat and cows, so tucking the toes under, drop the belly, lift the chest, inhale. Exhale, ground through the hands and the knees as you round the belly to the spine, chuck chin to chest. Inhale, extension, drop the belly, lift the heart. Exhale, flexion, round through the spine, really ground through, push through the hands, tuck chin to chest. Lovely. Few more times. Inhale, re-lift. Exhale, tuck. Lovely. The next time that you come up will be the last, and we're coming into our first downward dog of the morning. So from here, toes tucked, drop the belly, lift the heart, and then ground through the fingertips, lift the knees up, hips high, head low, downward facing dog. So we're only here for a moment. I want you to put a generous bend in your knees in downward facing dog and walk your hands back towards your feet. Walk the hands back towards the feet. So you're coming into a forward fold at the back of the mat. And then from here, we're going to keep it moving. Inhale, arms come all the way out and up, raising up to the sky, fingertips to sky. And then fold forward, hinge from the hips, offer the heart forward, and have the palms open as you fall forward like a waterfall. When you reach towards the ground, put a generous bend in the knees and walk your palms all the way back out into plank pose. With or without the knees, I'm going to do the first one with my knees on the ground, lower the knees to the ground, and then lower the upper body, put a bend in the elbows, heart finds the ground, forehead finds the ground. From here, grounding through the fingertips, untuck the toes. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. We're going to take the sequence 4 times. Generous bend in the knees, walk the hands back towards the feet. Lovely. Keep it moving. This is Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, arms come all the way up. Lovely. Exhale, hinge from the hips, going straight back down. Offer the palms forward, flowing like water. As soon as your fingertips reach the ground, bend in the knees, walking the hands all the way into plank pose. For those of you who want to practice strength in plank pose, lower the body in one long line or knees to the ground. Inhale, re-lift, re-lengthen. Upward facing dog, tuck the toes, lift the knees and hips. Downward facing dog. Lovely. Bend in the knees, walk the hands back. We're going to do it twice more. Inhale, re-lift, arms all the way up. Exhale, surrender forward. Walking the hands forward in a walking meditation, downward facing dog. Round through the spine, lift the heels, plank pose with or without the knees, lower down to the ground. Inhale, re-lift, untuck the toes, upward facing dog. Exhale, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Last time, the movement should be familiar. Lean into that familiarity. Bend in the knees, hands back towards the feet. Inhale, sweeping the arms all the way up. Exhale, palms facing up, like a waterfall, offering the body forward. Bend in the knees, walking the hands out like you're creeping through a forest on all fours, around through the heart and spine, lower down through plank pose, knees on the ground if you need to. Inhale, re-lift, upward facing dog, lovely. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. From downward facing dog, everybody let's meet with our knees on the ground, tabletop. Bring both knees together, feet to touch. From here, lengthen the right leg all the way back, toes of the feet on the ground, and then untuck the toes and sweep the foot as the knee comes towards the nose. Lovely. Now tuck the toes under and lengthen out. So it's almost like you've got a paintbrush on the bottom of your right toes, lengthening the foot out and then untuck the toes, sweep the foot all the way back. So you might have some friction between the foot and the floor, and that's fine. So re-lengthen the right leg, sweeping it all the way back. Lovely. And then untuck the toes so the foot never leaves the ground. So you're painting with that right foot. Exhale all the way back. Good. One last time, knee comes all the way forward. And then extend, draw that line all the way back. Good. Inhale all the way forward. Now watch me, the next time the knee comes all the way forward, that right foot which is bent is going to snake, cross over the left knee and make its way to the outside of the left mat. So you're crossing the right leg over the left. Good. And then take both feet to the outside of the mat. So from here where the feet are together, just widen them so that both feet go towards the outside of the mat. Good, lovely. Ground through the hands, send the hips backwards as the knees lift slightly, and then transfer the weight forwards, coming into a rocking motion. Inhale forwards, exhale back. The more that your heels widen away from each other, the more space you have into the hips. Inhale forward, exhale back, lovely. You can even add a little cat-cow here. So you can inhale as you come forward, drop the belly, lift the heart, and then you can send the hips back towards the heels as you round through the spine and find there's a yummy rounding through the back. Inhale forward, exhale back, lovely. Good. The next time you move back, can you widen the feet so much that the hips make their way to seated? So bring the hips all the way down to ground. You might have to lift that front knee up slightly if it's sore. And then walk the fingertips back. So you're sitting in Gomukhasana, which is right leg crossed over left. Inhale when you're ready. Right arm comes forward and up. Put a bend in the right elbow. Left arm sweeps out like you're clearing a table. And then take the arm back, and maybe the fingertips touch, or maybe they hold onto their clothing, or maybe something that's really, really nice is just to take the right palm to the back of the neck and the left palm to the lower spine and just lean back so that you're really rooting through both pelvic halves and the spine can remain tall. Closing down the eyes for a moment here. Stillness within movement. When you're ready, unraveling the arms, walking them back out in front of you, lifting the hips. Now, with the legs crossed as they are, watch me. The left leg, which is the leg that's bent behind, you're going to re-lengthen all the way back. And then the right leg, you're going to swivel on the shin, taking the right foot behind you, and then swivel the back heel down and in, pouring the weight into the right hand, lift the left arm up and over. Lovely. Ground through the bottom shin. Let's just take a few arm circles with that top arm up and over, waking up the ball socket joint of the left shoulder there. Inhale, lift. Almost like you are actually swimming, which I miss so much, like just moving through water. Again, finding that viscous movement. Lovely. Inhale and exhale. Lovely. Palm finds the ground. Swivel the right shin back underneath you. Come onto the ball of the back foot. Bring both knees together. Come up onto the fingertips on the hands. Tuck the toes and then walk the hands back towards the knees. As you lift the knees, allow the pelvis to remain heavy on the heels. If you can, bring right hand to right palm and left to left. Lovely. And then just close your eyes for a moment. Can you find tranquility within the movement? A little bit of stillness, a little bit of wobble. Good. When you're ready, allow both knees to land back on the mat. Walk the hands out. Let's take the other side. Bring both knees to touch, big toes to touch. Extend the left leg this time, lengthen it all the way back, toes along the mat. And then untuck the toes and really sweep the knee all the way towards the nose, round through the spine, ground through the hands. Tuck the toes, extend the leg all the way back, waking up the hamstrings this morning. Untuck, knee to nose, rounding through the spine, get really, really small, and then sweep the leg all the way back. Lovely. Imagine that paintbrush on the toes as you mark a long line through the center of the body. Inhale, knee to nose, re-extend. Lovely. The next time the knee comes forward will be the last, and then cross that ankle, sweep it across the bottom right knee. So you're tucking it over, so there's like a kind of cross, and then take both ankles out to the sides. So moving both feet towards the side of the mat, and then taking the hips back and forward. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the heart, extend through the spine, take the hips back, round through the spine, almost folding in half. Inhale and exhale. You should feel like a nice opening up through the hips. Lovely. And don't cut the movement short. Really extend it back, so ground through the fingertips so that almost like I'm behind you and sort of pulling your hips back a little bit and then sending them forward. Lovely. Synchronizing with the breath, inhale forward, exhale back. Lovely. Now, next time you come forward, take both toes out to the side and then extend the hips back and wiggle them into a seated position. If you like, you can take hold of both of your ankles with your hands and extend them out slightly. So widening the base, and then really root the left hip down into the ground. This time, left arm comes up and forward, bend in the top left elbow as the palm of the hand finds the back of the neck, and then the right arm sweeping that table all the way horizontally back, bend in the left elbow, and then both right and left palms support the back body as you grow tall through the spine, closing down the eyes. Deep inhale, exhale. Finding a moment of stillness within movement. Good. When you're ready, unraveling both the arms, placing the palms of the hands on the ground and walking them forward, keeping the legs crossed. Again, right leg, which is underneath, extends all the way back, coming onto the toes. Yep, that's it. And then the left shin that's on the ground, can you swivel it about 45 degrees so it's coming to the left? Rotate the back heel down and in, pour the weight into the left arm and lift the right arm up and over, sweeping through. Inhale and exhale. Lovely. That's it, really nice. And the more you ground through the bottom hand, the more you get lift and lengthening through the fingertips. Draw the biggest circles that you've ever drawn. Draw the biggest circles that you've ever drawn. Lovely. When you're ready, next time the right arm comes forward and meets the ground, separate the knees under the hips, tabletop, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Take a few breaths in downward facing dog. Inhale and exhalation. Move round your shoulders, so move the fingertips out towards the sides. Allow the neck to be loose and relaxed. Shake the head yes and no, side to side. Good. Bend in the knees if you need to. Good. One deep breath here. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth. Put a generous bend in the knees. Walk the hands back towards the feet in that walking meditation. Lovely. Let's keep it moving. Ground through the feet. Inhale, arms come all the way up. Lovely. From here, walking towards the front of your mat. I'm going to face you just so that you can see, but you're facing the front of your space. From here, pouring the weight into the, I'll mirror you. So pouring the weight into the right foot, lift the left foot up, and take both palms of the hands on the shin, drawing the foot into the body. Lovely. From here, can you place your hand onto your kneecap, same arm to same leg. Maybe the other arm comes to the hip to support, and we're just going to take standing hip circles. For those of you struggling to balance, you can use a wall. So find a wall to do this if that feels good. And just slowly, again, waking up the ball socket joint of the hip, taking it up, out to the side and drawing it back down. And again, slowing down the movement. In yoga, the slower the movement, the more the muscles are working. That's it, nice. When you're ready, allowing the palm on that knee to stroke down the calf and take hold of the ankle and bring the sole of the foot either to the inside of the thigh or the inside of the calf, avoid the knee. Coming into tree pose. Inhale, lifting the arms all the way up. And again here, finding a moment of stillness as you gaze out into the distance. Lovely. Now when you're ready, arms come all the way back down, knee stays where it is, foot stays where it is. Take hold of the inside of the ankle and put a bend in the standing leg as you lift that foot and cross it over, figure of four. You have to put a really generous bend in the standing leg, and then if it feels comfortable, re-lift the arms. Now, if this is not stable, go back to tree pose, but otherwise coming into chair, and you can sit down a little bit, or you can sit down a lot. So playing with that balance, the more you send your arms forward, the more you send your hips back, the lower that you can go. So playing with that balance for a moment, firing up the standing leg, hips back, arms forward. Everything is like a pendulum. So the more that you balance forward, the more you balance back. Lovely. Firing up that left leg. And then when you're ready, unraveling. And from here, finding a chair pose, everybody all together. And we're going to, again, strengthen up that left leg. So, chair pose, you should be able to peek down and see your big toes. Send the hips back slightly as if you're sitting on a chair. And then roll the inner arms up so the palms are facing the ceiling. So the shoulders are nice and open and nice and relaxed. And then from here, you're going to lean into your left leg. And you're just going to send your right leg and really just slightly touch the back. So extend the right leg back and then step it forward. So it's quite still from the hips. You're not rocking too much. Send the right leg and lengthen it all the way back. Touch the back, lightly touch and bring it back. So you're not stepping the right foot back. You're just extending it back and then forward. Let's take that a few times. Inhale, extend, tap, bring it back. Inhale, extend, tap. Bring it back. You can add the arms. Send one arm back with the leg and bring it back. Send one arm back. That left thigh should be firing up. A few more times. Building strength. That's it. Really good. One more time. and back. Lovely. Lengthening both the legs now. Let's take the other side. Pouring the weight into the left leg, lift the right leg all the way up. Fingertips interlink, hug the shin in. Lovely. Take left hand to left hip and then palm onto the kneecap, draping over. And let's take hip circles with the leg. Lovely. Playing with the balance, rooting down through that standing leg, finding strength. Stability leads to flexibility. So the more that you can ground through that standing leg, the more movement and space that you have in the upper body to move. Lovely. So where is the movement coming from? Some of you seem to be moving like the shin round, but actually if you move in from the hip, you'll find a greater range of motion. So keep everything from the knee, that's it. Everything from the knee down is still. And I'm just motioning in this socket within the hip. Lovely. When you're ready, take the hand to the ankle, bring the sole of the foot to the inside of the standing leg. The tree pose, key to balance, is having a really strong thigh muscle and having a sense of pull and gather. So you're holding in, and there's almost like tension between the sole of the foot and the thigh. Squeeze it in, inhale, lift the arms all the way up. A moment of stillness. So really squeeze. And if you keep dropping the leg, then don't bring it up to the thigh, bring it down to the calf, or have the toes on the ground. This is just as much of a tree pose. That's it. Lovely. When you're ready, if you want to go further, take the ankle, cross it over figure of four. That's it. Put a generous bend in the right knee. Take the arms forward, take the hips back. How low can you go? How low can you go? For those of you who feel like you want to take it even further, you can fold in half, taking the fingertips to the ground and just lengthen out the bottom leg. Lovely. Right, coming into our strengthening postures. When we're ready, take both hands to the hips, take the left foot out, keep it really, really light and tap it back. Bring both arms forward. So I'm really bending into the front leg, but my left leg is super light. Inhale back into a kind of squat position. Distribute the weight evenly through both feet. Generous bend in the knees, hips back, and then pull the weight into the right side. Send the left foot tap and back. Tap and back. Try not to swing the right hip out. Keep the right hip stable. Tap and back. Some of you are hating me this morning, I'm sure. Tip the left foot back and back, back and back. A few more times. Really bending the knees. Tap and back. Tap and back. Good. Just lengthen the legs for a moment. Let the arms sway down. Close down the eyes. And just feel for a moment. Finding a sense of stillness within motion and silence within sound. When you're ready, blinking the eyes open, inhale, arms come all the way out, walking towards the back of your mat once again. And then as you exhale, offering the body forward, flowing like water, hinge from the hips, chest forward, fingertips find the ground or the thighs, generous bend in the knees, walking the hands out, downward facing dog. Lovely. Now, you can either take level 1, which we did before, or join me for level 2. Level 2 from downward facing dog, bring both toes to touch, heels to touch. Pour the weight into the left foot, lift the right leg all the way up and back, split dog. So you can do this with your left knee on the ground. Either way is fine. So with the right leg lifted all the way up, split dog. From here, drag the leg all the way down, painting that strip of paint, knee comes towards nose, moving through plank posture, weight into the arms, and then retuck the toes, lengthen, painting all the way back up, lifting the right leg up and back. So if you're in split dog now, ground through the hands, drop the head, lifting the heel of the standing foot, lift the right leg up and back. And now re-lower onto the front of the toes, drag the knee towards the nose, untuck the toes, re-lengthen. Take that a few times. Inhale, knee to nose. Exhale, untuck the toes. Dragging it back, re-lift. Good. The next time the foot comes all the way forward will be the last. Again, you can have the left knee down to the ground if you need to. And now, bring it into a figure of 4. So take the right foot across the left and re-ground through the hands as you lift the hips into downward facing dog. So it's almost like a figure of 4, but in downward facing dog. Now, pour the weight into the right hand as you swivel the left heel, the standing heel, down and in, pouring the weight into the right side of the body. Bring your left fingertips up. Good. And then maybe put a generous bend in both the knees, send the hips back so there's less weight through the right hand, and maybe lift the arm up. Good. Really, you need such a bend in both the knees, and the pinky edge toe of the bottom foot finds the ground. And then you can take arm circles. And if this is too much, you can lower this foot down to the ground and take arm circles as we did before. Good. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Lovely. Really nice, guys. Almost there. Lovely. The next time the arm comes all the way forward and down, re-pick up the back heel, back into downward facing dog with a figure of 4. And then pour the weight into the arms, back knee down if you need to, step the right foot forward between the hands, lower the back knee, low lunge. Inhale, lift the arms all the way up. Good. Exhale, release the arms out to the side, find the hips, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, coming into high lunge. And then from here, stepping the foot forward, let's take Gomukhasana. Gomukhasana is eagle posture. So what we're going to do is pour the weight into the right foot, I'm not mirroring you, and lift the knee all the way up and then cross it over. So it's almost like you're just crossing your legs, no big deal, like you're sat on a chair, like that. And then put a generous bend in the knees. Nice. Take the wings out to the side, right arm in front of left. And you can either wrap the arms around you, give yourself a hug, that's level 1, or put a bend in the elbows, take both forearms to the back of each other and find eagle arms. Garudasana, eagle posture. And for those of you who are practicing balance, you can start to lean forward again, just like we did before. Send the hips back and the elbows forward. And as you do so, finding a sense of stability through the midline, all the strength that you've built up in the legs. That's it. That's it. Good. When you're ready, unraveling, hands onto the hips, send that left leg so lightly all the way back, put a bend in the right knee, bring both hands to the ground, and then send the right leg back, moving through plank pose with or without the knees on the ground, lower the body in one long line. Inhale, lift, upward facing dog. Exhale into child's pose. Take both knees out to the side, big toes touch, relax, release. Lovely. Take a deep inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose or mouth. Finding a sense of stillness within movement. Our bodies are 60 to 70% water. So much of the inherent space between your cells is designed for fluid movement. And how can we move beyond the state of the mind and the limitations between our bones and our muscles to arrive at that state of fluidity? It is within fluidity we find a sense of tranquility. So for this next side, let's tap into that sense of being pure water. Pure water. You're ready, rounding through the spine, distributing your weight into your hands. Separate the feet, coming back into tabletop. Either stay here for level 1 sequence or tucking the toes, hips high, head low, downward facing dog. Let's take the other side. Pouring the weight into the right side of the body, lift the left leg up and back, split dog. Coming onto the tiptoes of the right foot, lifting the right heel off the ground to find length. And pause here for a moment, finding length from the fingertips all the way to the back toes, one long line. And then as you take a deep inhale, as you exhale, put a bend in the back knee, bring the foot towards the ground, stroking the foot along the ground, knee to nose coming through plank. Untuck the toes, re-lengthen, painting that strip across the ground, re-lift. Exhale, toes come back towards the ground, knee to nose, re-lengthen, leg moves all the way back. Lovely. Keep it moving, keep it flowing. Fluid like water, transferring the weight forward into the hands, re-tucking the toes, re-lengthening the leg. Always optional to drop the back knee to the ground if you need to. Let's take that a few more times, re-lengthen. And tuck, lovely. Re-lengthen and tuck, lovely. The next time the leg moves all the way up will be the last. And then as you bring the leg down, can you put a bend in the knee and cross it over figure of 4 over the standing leg? With figure of 4 downward facing dog, let's just take a moment, lift the hips high, drop the head, lengthening through the back of the right leg. Lovely. And then put a generous bend in that right standing leg, swivel the right shin in towards the center of the mat, plant the pinky edge of the right toes down into the mat, put a generous bend in both the knees, transfer the weight into the left hand, fingertips onto the mat. If this is too much, you can lower your hips to the ground, no problem at all, or lower the top leg to the ground, swivel the shin and you're back where we started. For those of you with me, lift the right arm up and over, take 3 arm circles, fluid motion, water-like cells. Inhale, re-lift. Generous bend in both the knees, grounding the pinky edge in. Using gravity to assist you. Lovely. When you're ready, right palm comes all the way down, swivel on the back shin so you're back in downward facing dog or something that looks like it, with a figure of 4 legs. And then step the foot maybe halfway along the mat, using the hand to pick up the ankle and step it all the way forward. Drop the back knee, inhale, low lunge, arms come all the way forward. Fluid body, fluid mind, extending the arms all the way out, placing them on the hips. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, high lunge. Good. Find a position that feels stable for you between the front and back foot. And then when you're ready, pouring the weight into the front foot, step the back foot maybe halfway in and then all the way in. Garudasana, eagle posture, lifting that leg all the way up, the leg you've just stepped in, and crossing it over the thigh. No big deal, like you're about to sit down, cross-legged. And then put a bend in the bottom leg. This time left arm sweeps all the way around, wing-like motion, and either taking a hug, level 1, or level 2, bringing both palms to the back. Good. And then if you feel to, testing your balance, send the hips forward, arms forward. Sorry, hips back, arms forward. And you can come into a little crouch if it feels good for you. The key to balance in this posture is drishti, which in yoga we call focus. So sending the gaze out. You remember at the start I talked about that eagle on the tree. Imagine you are an eagle on a tree looking out over a still and tranquil lake, and you'll arrive at a state of pure tranquility in this posture. Good. Few more seconds to enjoy this pose. That's it. Firing up that left leg. And then re-lengthen, release. And let's just shake it out. We've done a lot of leg work today, so bringing both the feet underneath the ankles and putting a generous bend in the knees, and then just starting a shake from the arms. Shake, shake, shake. So just the knees are just bouncing a little bit, no big deal. Letting the shoulders relax, arms relax, shaking at the wrists, dropping the jaw a little bit, and then bringing it into a little bit of a bounce. So maybe lifting the heels off the ground, keeping the toes in contact. And using some voice. Like, how often do we forget to just release tension through the mouth? So when we're ready, I like to use the words HA, so ha, we're just gonna ha it out. And if you like, you can even lift the toes off the ground and come into a jump. So deepening the inhale, open the mouth, ha. 3 times, inhale, ha. Last time. And then slowing it down like a clock unwinding itself into stillness. Slow, 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 back into stillness. Closing down the eyes and just standing in your awareness. Feeling the heartbeat in the chest. And noticing how in this short amount of time, you can turn up the energy of the body, and yet below that is a state of constant tranquility, available to you at any time. On the next inhale, blinking the eyes open, having the feet hip-width apart. Put a generous bend in the knees, lift the arms all the way up into chair pose. Optional to start to sit down as low as you can go. You can lift the heels off the ground and come onto tiptoes if you like. Or you can just sit, sit, sit all the way down to ground. If you need to put your arms down, please do. If you want to challenge yourself, lean all the way back until the buttocks reach the ground. Lovely. However you get there, let's meet. Walking the feet out in front of you, Navasana, boat pose. Can do a class all about water without boat pose. Glue the knees together, glue the thighs together. Taking the palms on the bottom of the calves. Engaging the core. Bring the feet onto your toes, so lifting the heels. And then lift one leg, rocking onto your seat bones, and lift the other leg all the way up. Good. If this is too much, you can have your toes on the ground, and you're rocking onto the back of your seat bones. If this feels really good, you can release the arms. Ease the thighs away from each other and have both palms facing up. Lifting through the heart, so not rounding and collapsing through the spine, but lifting up through the heart and through the belly. And if you like, you can even start to lengthen the legs. We're going to hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, allowing both feet to meet the ground, both soles of the feet to meet the ground. Separate the feet and drape over the front thighs. Head hangs low. Resting here for a moment, maybe even taking both arms over the shins into a position called Fallen Boy. Allow the chin to tuck. When we're ready, we're going to take Navasana twice more. Bring both toes to touch, heels to touch, glue the thighs together. Rock into the back of the seat bones, but instead of collapsing back, use both hands on the shin to draw the belly into the thighs. Lift tall, elongate through the spine, and then lift one leg and then the other. You'll notice you rock back onto the seat bones. Lovely. Extending the toes and the legs slightly more away from you, maybe extending the arms. Growing tall through the crown of the head. Lengthening the legs this time if it feels good. We'll hold for a few more. For 5. For 3. And for 1. Relaxing both feet to the ground. Again, using both palms on the shins to draw the belly up and fold over the front legs, wrapping around the shins, tucking the chin. Inhale, exhale into fallen boy. Last time, when you're ready, relift. Glue the legs together. Bring the heels in towards the buttocks and relift. Maybe you have your hands on the back of the thighs this time. Lengthening out in front of you, gazing past your big toes into the distance. Good. Almost there, a few more seconds. Really lift from the belly button and release. Well done, guys. Using the palms of the hands on the back of the thighs or the shins to draw the body forward and fold over the front thighs. Relax, release. Good. And then unraveling. Lengthening the feet out in front of you and using the hands to ease yourself down onto your back. Good. Let's hug both knees into chest when we're here. Bring the shins into the chest. Good. And then gluing the thighs together again, both shins together. Let both knees fall onto the ground on the left side. As you rock both hips, let both shins and thighs meet the ground on the left. Take the left hand and place it heavy on the top thigh, on the right thigh, and then extend the right arm all the way out to the side, turning the head towards the right fingertips, lying twist. Maybe taking head rolls to the right and to the left to completely release any remaining tension in the neck. Moving the head right and left. As we wind down the practice this morning. And then allowing the head to rest to the right or left, yogi's choice. Good. One more deep breath here. Inhale and exhale as you relift the knees towards the ceiling. Soles of the feet find the ground and you take the knees over to rock onto the other side. So allowing the knees to weigh heavy onto the right side. Bring the right palm of the hand to the top thigh, using the weight of the hand to allow the hips to yield to gravity, and then let the left hand extend out on the horizontal towards the left as the head again takes potentially rolling motion over the back of the skull, a little massage for the back of the skull. And then eventually the head finds a place of stillness, gazing towards the left fingertips. And when you're ready, relifting the knees, soles of the feet find the ground, and taking just one moment to do anything that your body is yearning for, anything I haven't cued today. So you could lift your legs to the ceiling and roll your ankles, Or you could take plow pose, taking the legs all the way behind you onto the floor behind you. Or take Baddha Konasana, bringing the soles of the feet together, knees out, or happy baby pose. Few seconds to just iron out any creases in the body. And then when you're ready, finding your way from movement into stillness. As we move from sound into silence. Getting yourself warm and cozy, grabbing a socks or jumper or a blanket. And just extending yourself into your Shavasana, your restful corpse pose. And when you reach a comfortable position, just allowing the body to weigh heavy onto the earth, closing down the eyes or lowering your gaze. And for these last few moments of practice, do less, do nothing at all. Relax the jaw completely. Allow the front teeth to separate slightly from the bottom teeth. Allow the jaw to hang. Let the root of the tongue remain soft in the back of the mouth. Iron out any creases in the forehead and let your eyeballs weigh heavy in their sockets. And let the brain weigh heavy in the back of the skull. And anchor in with your breathing. Let the breath guide you into deeper states of a complete resonance with the level of water within the body. How much fluidity and inherent tranquility you have access to at any given time, using your imagination to discover with a beginner's mind the level of water within the fluid form, within the structure of the bones and the tissues and the cells and the heart and the spinal column, the spinal fluid. Within that, so many lessons for how we can move and be, and the constant stillness beneath the rush. I read to you today from the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu, chapter 16. I do my utmost to attain emptiness. I hold firmly to stillness. The myriad creatures all rise together, and I watch their return. The teeming creatures all return to their separate roots. Returning to one's roots is known as stillness. This is what is meant by returning to one's destiny. Returning to one's destiny is known as the constant. Knowledge of the constant is known as discernment. Woe to him who willfully innovates while ignorant of the constant. But should one act from knowledge of the constant, one's actions will lead to impartiality. Impartiality to kingliness. Kingliness to heaven. Heaven to the way to perpetuity, and to the end of one's days, one will meet no danger. Letting the silence within the sound drape over you. Now we'll call you back when it's time to rise. Deepening the breath. Inhaling and exhaling, bringing yourself back to the shared space. Planting a seed of intention for the rest of your day. Any moments of the practice that you wish to seamlessly allow to infiltrate daily life. And then when you're ready, very slowly, as if moving underwater in the deepest part of the ocean, slowly unravel from your lying position to bring yourself into a seated posture, anything that feels comfortable, with your eyes closed and and 70% of your attention directed inward. And as you find your seated position, just grounding through the pelvis, letting the whole body drape down to gravity as you find your spine upright again. And placing the palms of your hands anywhere on your body. You could have them on your thighs or on your heart space or on your belly, or one hand to belly, one hand to heart. And tucking the chin down to chest and sealing in the concept of Araamesh, Araamesh, tranquility, stillness within movement, silence within sound. And having a seamless transition this morning from your practice on the mat to off the mat. Taking in that awareness of the Tao, the awareness of the constant, and using that to tap into your infinite ability for peace and for calmness and for tranquility in an ever chaotic and changing world. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Thank you especially to Samer for this beautiful concept I've had to play with. I get so much inspiration from so many of you, so this is definitely a collective practice. And taking one deep, fully felt breath to finish, let's breathe in through the nose, drink the breath into the front of the body, inhale, rise, and hold the breath at the top of the inhale. Hold for a few seconds there. Drop the shoulders away from the ears. Part the lips. Exhale, let the breath go. Lovely. Bringing the breath to coming in and out through the nose. And when you're ready, blinking the eyes open. Thank you.